Hello artists, today we are going to make it our best by first reading The Dot. It's almost dot day, and I'm going to celebrate by reading this story and making a coffee filter craft. It's one of my favorite kind of experimental projects. It can really help us make our mark as an artist. Begin. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. "There." Her teacher pulled up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper towards Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. "Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name." The next week when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot that she had drawn. Her dot, all framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that." She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted, a red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with the yellow, and she discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting with many little dots in many colors. "If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too." Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Please, sign it." The end. I love this story because it really talks about how artists only have to make it their best. When you make it your best, you can really start to go and think outside of the box. You can take risks and try new things, and that's what art is all about. When we make art, we just make it our best. We can't make it perfect every time, but we can make it our best every time. So for my art project today, you can see I've started by getting a coffee filter all spread out nice and flat. I used both of my hands to get it as flat as possible. Next, I'm going to use a permanent marker like a Sharpie just to write my name. After putting away my permanent marker, I'm ready to find some markers, so regular washable markers like these Crayolas right here. And since I'm working with some people today, I am just grabbing the 4 colors I need, and then I'm putting my marker box back towards the middle. That way we can share better. My challenge for you is to color using markers in a pattern. I start in the middle and then go towards the outside of the coffee filter. You can see here, I grabbed some newspaper. I wonder if anybody could tell me why. If you said that I grabbed newspaper so that the marker wouldn't bleed through to my table, then you are right. The newspaper is going to collect all the marker that bleeds through this coffee filter. Make sure that whenever you're using markers and you're done with one, you put the cap on nicely. Remember my challenge from before. Color in a pattern. My pattern is orange, teal, red, purple. Making sure that my markers are closed all the way, I'm getting ready to clean up because this is all the work I think I want to do today. When you're using marker on something like a coffee filter, you may notice, like I am about to right here, that your hands got a little dirty. It's going to be a great idea to wash those before you move on to any next steps. My next step, when I'm ready for it, would be to add crayon dots onto my dot. This dot is going to have dots on it. It's dots on dots on dots. The crayon dots are going to act differently from the marker though in our final step of this coffee filter craft. So my next challenge for you is to put random dots or a pattern of dots on your dot using crayon. Goodness, did I say dot enough just then? To make sure that my coffee filter doesn't tear when I use crayon, I use one hand to support it, and I spread that hand as wide as I can just to keep the coffee filter flat. If I don't do this, the kind of waxy crayon could cause your coffee filter to tear, and we've already worked so hard, I would hate it if it tore. So next, we're going to use a spray bottle just to get our coffee filter dot wet. And over time, you can see how the marker bleeds into the coffee filter, creating a really cool kind of tie-dye effect. Notice though, did the crayon bleed into the paper also? I wonder if you know why. You can see that my crayon dots did not bleed into the coffee filter like the marker did. Marker is washable and it is a water-based art media. So when you add water to it, it's going to bleed into paper, especially paper like coffee filter that soaks up water really well. My final step will just be letting my coffee filter dry and washing my hands. Now it's your turn to try and really make your mark with your own one-of-a-kind dot. Happy making!